look around Florida.
Welcome to Look Around Florida. I am your host, Sean McFaul, aka the Florida Man. Glad y'all could be here tonight. I really do appreciate it. Linda Hudson, how are you and Roy doing tonight? Uh, guys, if you do me a favor, when you join the show, just type in the chat, hi, who you represent. Johnny, welcome, buddy. Springfield, Missouri's joining us tonight. So when you join in, you can say hi, where you're from, or what you represent. Uh, I like seeing people from all over the Confederation uh, here on Look Around Florida. I have Bobby Grenier. He's in the background, so we're gonna let things join us as people come in. We got David King in the house, Charles LeRae, Laura Schultz. Welcome, welcome. I'm glad y'all can be here tonight. So just keep saying hi. I am looking for you. So where's my pictures? So I was out and about this weekend with the early camp at the Dade City Pioneer Museum. Great time. I uh, there's a guy there named Wayne. I love him to death. I love him to death. We talked about the monument. I'll show you some pictures here in a little bit. We talked about the monument, got a chance to see it, and talk about the Pioneer Museum, some of the buildings, how they got there, and all that. I truly love history, especially when it's Florida history, or if not, local history. I love it. I love it. So I want to say thank you to Early Camp and the Dade City Pioneer Museum for having me this past Saturday. I learned a lot. I learned a lot. I love it. All right, guys. I did take some pictures there at the Pioneer Museum. I know I uploaded them. Ready. There we go. There's four of us right there. Me, David, Jeff O'Connor, Wayne Sweat, Butch Fox. We're at the monument. Now, granted, they do have some more work to do and plans for the monument. So, dedication date is not set. The Plant City UDC wanted me to tell you guys it's not set. They will be discussing that and planning that soon. So keep that in mind. The dedication date is not set according to the Plant City UDC. So here's the monument as it sits as of Saturday. You got the now granted, this monument is dedicated to the Florida Cow Cavalry Company B under Captain Leslie. My camp namesake it was with Company A, which was South Florida. Company B was pretty much Central Florida, from what I'm understanding. And here's where it explains Company B under Captain Leslie, his lieutenants, and the men that served underneath him. More names on who served in that unit. From what I'm understanding, granted, don't quote me on this. From what I'm understanding, there was a total of 800 to 900 people that served in the Florida Cow Cavalry in different parts of the Florida. We had Company A, which was South Florida. Company B was Central Florida. And I think we had a Company C. I'm not, don't quote me on that. Uh, you can tell by the top of the monument, They are planning on cleaning that up and get that purdy for us. As I was there, I did as we me and the museum was checking out other buildings that are there on location. We did see multiple people did go up and check that monument out. So that's a plus for the Dade City Pioneer Museum. We do have some big news that came out today. Thank you to Bob Highball and his men with his camp. They are going to be doing the division reunion. The date is set, June 6th. You can go to their website. I know I uploaded it. There you go. It's scrolling down at the bottom. www.floridadivisionreunion.com and register today. I just literally just got done with mine, so I'm set, and I know a few others are set as well for the reunion. Exactly, floridadivisionreunion.com. Please check it out. You can do everything there. You can register, get your tickets for for the banquet, chaplain's breakfast. I believe the hotel as well. Here in the future, we will be having Bob Highball come on and fill us in on the plans for the division reunion. So it's set. Start registering today. Get your tickets. Remember, it is an election year. So we have a lot of good people, including myself, running for a position. So you have to be, your camp has to be present to vote. Let your camp's voice be heard. Not only that, if you're running for a position, you have to be present. Oh man, we got quite a bit of people already joined in. We got David King, Leon and Delin, Bill Gorman, Annette Lindsay, Shadow K8414 says hello. Bob Highball and Dorothy Gibbet. I'm sorry, I'm gonna butcher your name. I'm just gonna apologize now. Oh, the director, Bob, of the Traverse Research Center's in the house. So somebody you probably Barbara Grenier has worked very closely with. Uh, so guys, girls, Chip Schultz, welcome. Get a drum roll. And say a warm welcome to our guest, Bobby Grenier. Welcome, sir.
Hi, Sean. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Listen, I got to talk to you about the food you're serving here in the green room. Okay, we need to upgrade this a little bit more over here.
Well, you don't like swamp cabbage and gator?
Yeah, I was at least hoping for cheeseburgers or something over here. You know,
Nah, you lucky I didn't do fried possum this year.
Very good. Hey, Sean, how are you?
I can't complain, sir. How you doing this evening?
Great. I'm loving that monument, that Cow Calvary monument. That's terrific.
Oh, I know. I mean, it put better perspective in my head by looking at it and seeing the names of everybody that served with Company B.
Absolutely. That's terrific. I remember seeing it in Plant City one time. I went over there and kind of in that corner spot right there. But it's good to see it where it's at and that it's back and in its glory, and it's wonderful.
Yes, sir.
So how's everybody out there? I heard you rattling off some names. You got Leon and Delin and Annette and Bob. Bob Highboy, I want to get you on the radio on like May 22nd to talk about the division reunion. Unless you want to come before that, you can come and be on before that too. Definitely got to get you on the radio to talk about the reunion. But I know there's other things you want to talk about. So get in touch with me. We'll get you scheduled maybe a couple of times. So
Yeah, I even got somebody you work closely with, the director of Traverse Research Center,
Maribel?
Maribel. Yep,
Yeah,
she's in the chat.
Maribel. Hey, Maribel. Yeah, she's a new director at the Tavares History Research Center. Big fan of history. She loves everything they were doing, the participation, like when Jerry Peacock and his drums come into our museum sharing symposium. She's also the founder of that Central Florida Museum Sharing Symposium. She's the one who started it several years ago, and it's grew so huge. And of course now Jerry and Bob, of course, and Nett Lindsay, Al Massey and his wife were there at the last one. So you've got the SCV, the UDC, and OCR has become a big part of this museum sharing symposium, and we love the participation. Everybody just loves Jerry, at that last museum sharing symposium. He was a lot of fun.
Yep, that's cool. What kind of stuff do you talk about at those symposium?
Well, first of all, what basically it was put together by Maribel to bring museums, historical societies together to kind of communicate with each other. We figured there's in numbers, if people started talking, we could help each other out, like what you do in the division. Everybody's trying to help each other out. That's the way to grow. That's the way to get your word out. And so her idea was to put these together. And over time, a fewer historic societies museums were starting to come. And about a couple of years ago, Maribel and a couple others from the Museum Sharing Symposium said, gee, we need somebody to kind of direct this, facilitate it, MC it. And they asked me to do it. And you know me, Sean, but by now that if they're going to give me something to do, I'm going to take it to a whole new level. And it has. And now with Annette Lindsay actually representing not only the OCR, but Gilchrist County, there are 10 Central Florida counties represented at this Central Florida Museum Sharing Symposium. A great idea Maribel came up with because it's just taken off, where we're able to share ideas. First of all, we've also included a lot of entertainment, as Jerry will attest to, and Bob, at the beginning, but because people want to be entertained. So before the actual meeting starts, where everybody comes up and talks about 3 minutes about the historic side of their museum events. Of course, in Jerry's case, about 20 minutes. That's basically what it is for everybody to share. So we added an element of entertainment and patriotism and reenactors and living historians. And that last one was just incredible with the children coming to sing on the national anthem. And Jerry drumming the whole time with the music was great.
He doesn't joke. He has that drum in his trunk, and he's willing to travel.
I tell you, the music, because the kids sang to the music that was piped in, but Jerry drummed, and it like fit right into the music that was playing. It was perfect. Everybody loved it. It just fit in so perfectly. Jerry, have drum will travel. So
you've been on the road lately?
Pardon?
You've been on the road lately?
Yeah, boy, I tell you, since December, basically, I've been doing, the 2026 is what I call, is my 25-year anniversary. I'm on tour, so I'm on my 25th anniversary tour in Dixie's Land, So, I started this back in 2001, so 25 years ago is when I first started helping out the South with conservation and education and writing books and what have you. But yeah, December when I was up at the Citadel. In January, I went to Bob Hybaugh's camp, and I was at Oxford a couple of times, but I spoke at Bob Hybaugh's camp. And the very next day, I was up by Calvin, eating Italian and giving a talk up there at their Lee Jackson banquet. And it's not 2026 is gonna be nonstop. My calendar's just totally. So I'm kind of calling it because I'm bringing in the South in every possible way I can in every event that I do. And so I'm kind of calling it my 25th anniversary tour. I mentioned both at Calvin's Lee Jackson and at Bob's Lee Jackson, how many people have been in the UDC and SCV for 25 years, and only 3 or 4 people at both of them raised their hand. So actually Yankee Bob has been kind of at this much longer than most of you at preserving the Southern heritage. And
right.
So.
Yeah, because when I joined the SCV back in 1996, there's only a couple people still alive.
Yeah, you're one of the long-standing ones too. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I started in 2001, and then somewhere along the line there was, I think in 2004 or five. I mean, it just took me 3 years, and at the time. They didn't have any sort of award for a division award for a legionnaire, or they didn't even know it was a legionnaire. For somebody who didn't have Southern heritage, so I was really proud when they came up with that, and I was the first. That was 2005. I was the first recipient of that award, and you can only win it once. So I can't believe that's what 2005. So boy, that's 21 years ago.
Yeah.
It's still hanging on my wall in the other room over there in my office.
Right.
So
That's cool.
very good.
So, what kind of stuff are you doing with the museum there in Traverse?
Well, Tavares loves the South. They really do. I mean, everything. The hotel is always ready to have everyone. The parade, the city, the museums. We're always ready to have you there. Matter of fact, I'm planning to bring in a surprise speaker. I'm hoping to set her up for May. I'll get her in to stay at the hotel for a couple of days, but it'll be a surprise. I'll tell you guys about later that I'm doing for you guys. Always thinking of the next thing, Sean, to help.
I know the feeling.
But so I mean, with a lot of events, like what's coming up on March 10th, of course, I've got a thing I'm talking about St. Clair, Major St. Clair's and Captain Haynes. So I'm giving a presentation in town. We're setting it up with the city. But of course, in March is the big Ethel Heritage Festival, and I think you got a flyer for that I sent you.
Yep.
And this is a great opportunity. The Ethel Heritage, it's actually the East Lake and Ethel Heritage Trail. It's a big festival. It's over a 2-day period on March 21st and 22nd. And I know El Massey, and I got them folks from Jacob Summerlin already scheduled. They're going to do their canon and have a tent there and all their things. I think they're also going to be at Pinecastle's Pioneer Festival this upcoming weekend, because I'll be a guest speaker on Sunday in Pinecastle this coming Sunday. And I think Jacob Summerlin, I'll have to get with El, is there for a couple of days, and they'll do their canon. I got medical. I'm trying to get the folks who were at Rifles, Rails, and History all those years ago to be at this Heritage Festival. But basically what it is I want to get the Yankee Bob update out to you guys in the next couple of days, because basically, you guys can set up a camp. You can set up tables. You can just walk around in your Confederate uniforms. Bring your flags and walk around and talk to people. Have a table. You can even camp for the weekend if you want. Pitch a tent. But I want to give an opportunity for the South and to be able to, again, be in an event where you're speaking to more than just like-minded Southerners there, that people are out there you can educate. I think it's a great thing for Jacob Summerlin Camp to be at Pinecastle. I'm sure they were there last year. I'm sure Al is going to be there this year. To be at these festivals that aren't really reenactments, strictly dealing with the war between the states. So I'm going to everybody be looking for that. A great opportunity to just show your faces, show your flags, show your gray and butternut uniforms, and get out there. If you want to camp, if you want to just march and talk to people and just be out there. March 21st and March 22nd at Heritage Festival, and I'll send out a lot of information about that coming up. So a lot of things happening. Lots of things happening. Lots and lots of things. I go on a book tour in April for 3 weeks. So you guys, I think I'm coming back actually on actual Confederate Memorial Day on the 26th. Unless somebody needs me for the 26th, then I'll leave Chicago a day earlier and get there to be back in time for Confederate Memorial Day on April 26th.
Oh, okay. What was that?
How's everybody out there?
So far,
I can't see names, so I don't know who's out there.
Well, John Jenkins from the Springfield, Missouri camp.
Hey.
Charles Loray from Louisiana. Somebody you know very well, Laura Schultz.
Yeah.
Linda Roy Hudson, David King, Delyn and Leon.
I'm really looking forward to the reunion this year. I mean, I just go to the banquet on Saturday night. That's all I do. But I have a blast. I've been doing that, going to that banquet for years and years and years, and I absolutely love it.
Oh, I do too. Yeah, I'm kind of glad that Bob Highball and his camp brought it back.
Absolutely. Bob's a showman. He really is, and he's great. Everything is it. To me, everything is about the show. It has to be when you're in sight of something. It has to be visual. It has to be right. And Bob is like that. He makes sure that everything you're looking at, there's a show there. He lays it out perfect. And I really like that about Bob because I'm a show person too. It's Rifle Trails in History. I'm glad all my Southern friends still love me because I was really tough. Everything had to be just right. I didn't let people come in at the end on Sunday. I didn't let people drive in and start loading up because people who come on Sunday, they want to get the complete show as well.
Yeah.
So I never liked reenactments where on Sunday people are driving into their camps and they're loading up everything and people, well, this ain't a realistic camp. There were no cars parked next to the tent.
Right.
So yeah, Bob is like that. He's very meticulous. He's very good. He puts on a great show.
Yep. Well, he's in the chat. Annette Lindsay is in the chat.
I've known Annette for over 20 years too. Yeah.
We got Death Row, Marianne, Barry J. Sadford, Dent, chapter.
Oh, the commander, chief, Donnie Kennedy isn't in the house, is he?
He has not spoke up yet.
Okay, because I sent him an email a few days ago. I want to get a hold of him because I'm going on that book tour up in Illinois, Indiana, and stuff. Yeah. And I want to see if there are active SCV camps still going in those two states because I'm going up there. Of course, I'm talking about Edmund Kirby Smith and Captain Haynes and Dickinson, who we're going to be discussing tonight with my new book. But I want to see if there's any active camps up there. I know Chicago had an SCV camp called Camp Douglas. So I know Bob Highball and is going to help me try to find if there's any active ones. I know I talked to Donnie Kennedy also. He says I'm hoping that he can, between the two of them, they can find out if there's any active camps still going up in the Chicagoland, Indiana area. Because I would see if they want me to come on by and introduce myself to them.
Yeah, I'll put you in touch with somebody after the show.
Oh, sounds good. I mean, up there, I guess I'm Yankee Bob up there. I guess I'm Dixie Bob in a blue uniform. But
David King just said Kathy's watching also.
Oh, hey, Kathy. She's a big fan. I love the review she gave me on my book. She was the first, but there's been so many people, even up to today. I just can't wait. We'll talk about that in a minute. But hey, Kathy and Annette, they're like, it's Kathy and Annette and then everybody else.
Bob, Roy Hudson just said, there you go. Let me put this up for you so you can see. There are camps in Indiana.
Oh, if I can find out where they are, because I'm going to be in Northwest Indiana, like in Crown Point and Cherville, a couple other locations. I think I got 2 or 3 in Indiana. I got 3 already booked in Chicago. But yeah, if there's something, I'd like to make contact with somebody up there. I can find nothing online, about those camps. They say they're there, but they're not doing any Facebooks anymore, even though there's a Facebook. So if I can find out if some of these there, and also I'm trying to find out, I want to get from Donnie because I always travel through Paducah, Kentucky, and they got this incredible Confederate. I'll tell you, they got this incredible Confederate park. It's forgot the begins with a T. This general that's named for this SCV camp. They got this Confederate park in Paducah, Kentucky. That you guys it's amazing there. And I've got tons of pictures. I stopped there up and down both times, hoping to bump into somebody from this Tillman, maybe General Tillman or somebody camp.
Well, their division commander does watch the show from Kentucky.
Oh, well, I want to get a hold because I drive through Paducah. Right on the highway is that Confederate Park. I just stop there, take a break. That's it right there. Thank you, Charles. And I stop at that park, and it's beautifully done, covering every aspect of Confederate history, from even like Jewish, the Black Confederates. It's just a beautiful. That's it, Aaron Park. Thank you, Dave. That's it. It's on the tip of my tongue, and I stopped there, and I thought, man, I always hope to bump into somebody there at Aaron's Park and on a trip, and I just haven't. It's been every trip to Chicago and back, so I've been made about 6 trips there, and yet still haven't bumped into anybody over there. And I just keep hoping that I would, and just start talking, and maybe even speak at one of their camp one time, up or down.
Yeah, they might be like us, blue collar workers, so they might be there at the park active on weekends.
Yes, yeah. And usually I drive on the weekends. Through there, but it's just a matter of bumping into, because also on the way up there's another park in Tennessee. You go past Chattanooga, maybe about 30 miles or so. It's near Belt Buckle, Tennessee, and there's another beautiful park, and they actually have burials there too, right on the hill, right on the highway, I-24. Beautiful Confederate park right there. But they actually allowed Indiana Union to have a monument there for because at the battle nearby, this Indiana battery was there. But they got a little thing where you can put money in and what have you, cannons and gravestones, even before war between the states. But 2 Confederate parks that are just incredible, that I always stop at on the way up to Chicago and back. It's like a pilgrimage for me to stop at these 2 parks.
Well, we do have a member of the Tennessee division in the chat, Derek Glover. He may be able to hook you up with that camp in Tennessee.
Good, because I think I left my card a couple times with the $5 bill wrapped, and stuck it in their little thing right there. But I haven't heard from them, but because being fortunate to be now over up in Charleston, speaking at the Citadel, and going up to Chicago. This is my 3rd year going up to Chicago and Indiana and Wisconsin area. If I can get into some of these CV camps,
Well,
other states besides Florida, it'd be great.
Well, you have a chance to talk with our past commander-in-chief, Jason Boshiers. He's going to be our guest speaker at this year's reunion, and he's the adjutant for the Tennessee division.
Well, actually, I'm going to talk to Jason before, because I'm hoping actually to make a pit stop with him, and so spend a few hours with him on my way up or down from Chicago in April. So I'm actually hoping I'll be talking to Jason and see what I can do about maybe him touring me around. I have not seen Elm Springs yet, and I would love to.
Oh, you got. I was there on opening day. That was beautiful, and from what I've been told and the pictures I've seen of it today, I'm itching to go back to see the changes they've done to the museum. Oh, Bob, here you go. I don't know if you can see that.
No, it's real kind of small for me there.
Something about yeah, Indiana. We received Bob and his son into the Cow Cavalry camp in Arcadia when they moved to Florida. Bob King. Yeah, Bob King is a very close friend of mine. We send goofy pictures and videos to each other just about every day.
Great. Oh, yeah. So I'm gonna make contact. We got another one here.
Derek Glover. I recommend Camp 386. I'm not even going to pronounce that town. But he said to get in touch with Joey Dale Nolan. I think hopefully I said that right, Derek.
Very good. I appreciate these contacts. What's funny is your show is very much like the Museum Sharing Symposium. The whole idea is for people to make contact with each other. And that's what your show is doing here, Sean. So great job.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's about the SCV, the UDC, OCR, our history and culture here in Florida.
I got to tell you, and I say this at every talk there, and usually I end with this, because to me, these 25 years, it's because of you people, you Southern people, that I still do this. You know, and like I say, I've been doing it for 25 years. So there's been people through those years that I've been going through and dealing with, that just keep me going, because you're all really a wonderful group of people. And I tell all the time, I told, in the thread of our Friends of Golden Triangle History today, we have a thread of our board of 12 people, that these Southern people are the most fabulous people I've ever met in my entire life. And I think it was a blessing 21 years ago that God put me in front of this dilapidated little house that turned out to be Captain Haynes, and what we've done with that house, and of course that'd be the subject of my book that we're going to be talking about here. You know, that you guys are just wonderful people, and that's why I continue to do it. And to me, my resolve to continue doing this and fighting for statues and your history and educating and writing books, in hopes to get that Kirby Smith statues. I won't let go of that. There's so many of these things that, that's why when I see Cow Calvary statue like that, that monument there, it just excites me to know that you guys, you're making a turning point. You guys are going to go on, and SCV and OCR and UDC, you're going to live on. You really are.
Yep.
Your heritage is going to live on forever. There's nobody going to bring down. And when you bring in people like me, at the risk of sounding modest, we're gonna make sure it doesn't go away.
Yep. Because there's way too many people out there that love to protect of our history and our culture here in Florida.
I'm hoping that here in Tavares and Lake County, you know, we've had that when we were doing that in Kirby Smith, we had that small group of people that were opposing me and making life difficult. But I'll tell you something, the majority of 80% of Lake County wanted me to get that statue. And Tavares alone, I'm so darn proud of my town. I mean, for many, many years, and I mean, I can start it up again this Fourth of July. I had the Confederates lead a 4th of July parade, and they'll all tell you they were part of it. I mean, I have a picture that Terry Binkley just sent me, me and my blue uniform men, leading the way with our rifles. So Tavares, I have to be very proud of Tavares, that they, you know, I put in 2 streets named after Confederates here in Tavares, ratified here. We're not taking street names away. We made 2 more streets named after Confederates here. So I'm very proud of Tavares for being friendly to all of you. And when you guys come, show you guys a good time.
Oh yeah, when we did the mechanized cavalry annual there, the town really opened up to us. Nobody gave us a hard time. Nothing, you know.
Your flag are welcome in Tavares. Boy, they welcome.
Oh yeah, I mean, me and Jeff O'Con, we walked over to the museum and we had a blast.
Yeah. I used to have Confederate flags flying in that courthouse. I mean, I got old pictures and stuff that I used to have Confederate flags actually flying. And Jerry will tell you, he was there. Many of the others too. So, ways, very good. And you know, Captain Haynes. Speaking about Captain Haynes, I went, you know, in the book, and I don't know if you have the picture, but you know, the book that that we're going to talk about. You know, Captain Haynes is what started it for me. And there you go, and that little
Was that
Woodley.
the right one?
No, there you go.
Okay.
There's Gallant Captain. Well, you know, this book, I'm so proud of this book right now. I always wanted to write a book, you know, after reading Michael Shearer's The Killer Angels and seeing the movie that it was based on Gettysburg. I says, you know, that would always be some sort of fun writing. That's the writing I want to do. And I always wanted to do something like that to actually make real situations, Gettysburg and everything that happened there, happened in the movie and in the book, except Michael Shearer supplied dialogue and intimacy and you know, the inner feelings and emotions of people. And I always wanted to write a book like that. And so, you know, so many years ago, I started writing this book. And of course, in the meantime, I wrote, I don't know, 12 others, books on history and Confederacy and biographies and what have you. But Captain Haynes is up there. You'll see his picture that my dad drew. As a matter of fact, my dad designed the whole cover, and the dozen illustrations inside the book are my father's. And my father died over 9 years ago. So you can see how long I've been working on this book. But Captain Haynes is the one who started for me. That Woodley house you see on the cover, that's the house that I wanted to save, that those arsonists burnt down. And Haynes Creek, I got that name protected and saved, you know, over the creek here that was named for him. So there's a lot of history with Captain Haynes, and I always kind of felt he's the one who started me off, and he did. Captain Haynes is the one who started me off in my 25-year quest with the Confederacy. And so I always wanted, and his story was just incredible. I mean, his life was incredible. And I thought to myself, boy, he would be the subject of a book just like the one I read when I read Killer Angels and saw that movie. And indeed, his story proved 15 years later, in December, just a couple months ago, I released this book after 15 grueling years of writing this thing. But I'll tell you something. You could all talk to Kathy King. I think I nailed it. The stories in here, it's just human drama, and it's great. And I'm telling you this because, and this is not just something for girls to read. This is for men too. This book, because just like the Killer Angels, there's the whole human aspect of a Southern soldier who's actually a hero. Captain Haynes and Dickinson, these guys were heroes to us. And it's not so much, it's not a history book, so don't go, even though everything in this book I research. So if it's 1840, let's say, I research was a word used, was something invented back at that time. So if something wasn't invented until 1860, I didn't use it in 1840. So it could be like every third line, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to look this up. Did they talk like that back then? Or was this invented? Or was this magazine in use? Anything. Stores like in Ocala were real stores that existed in 1880 in Ocala, when there's a scene later in the book with Captain Melton Haynes and Joshua Chamberlain in the book, because Chamberlain actually visited Ocala, and he was there at the same time that Melton Haynes was up there doing business, doing all the research and what have you. So obviously I made a really, what I think is a very touching moment between Melton Haynes, Captain Haynes, and Joshua Chamberlain, where Melton wanted to learn about Robert E. Lee, because Melton never got that opportunity. He knew Stonewall Jackson from back in the around 1850. So Melton Haynes already knew Stonewall before it was Stonewall. But sitting down at that store there in Ocala, a real store that was there at the time, and talking, and how I had Joshua Chamberlain describe the first time he saw Robert E. Lee to Melton Haynes. I think it's just a scene that's very moving. And I want to thank Kathy King there for saying that the end of the book really touched her, that it was very moving. There she is. Great book. There's Kathy. There, how she was moved by the end of the book, and which is great to hear. And I've had a couple other people say that. And like I say, it's just not a book for women, because Peter in our rec department here in Tavares, he just got the book yesterday. He told me after city council, Bob, I'm on third chapter. I love that old Pete, that stagecoach driver. I just love him. He's great. And oh, by the way, his name is Pete. This is yeah, Pete, So, so like Kathy, the one thing that's common in every one of the reviews of this book is people have gotten themselves out of this time and have gone back to that time in Florida. And that's the greatest compliment I could have, that I have set them back in that time period. And so throughout the scenes, throughout the book, and the book is easy because I set them in scenes. So if you need to pause or something, you can finish the scene and then begin again. Captain Haynes had an extraordinary life that took him from North Carolina here at 18 years old. He's credited with introducing the sweet orange to this Great Lake region. His oranges in 1845 spread the whole I-4 corridor and the US 27 corridor, were all descendants of his original quarter acre of oranges that he planted. Yeah, he's credited. Matter of fact, University of Florida, the extension office, retired, and he's in the Florida Citrus Hall of Fame, John Jackson. He was also a promoter. In other words, he went out for the University of Florida Extension Office. When he went out on speeches, the first person he mentions is Captain Melton Haynes, the guy who started essentially now, you might have heard of the Parson Brown Orange. 50 years after Melton Haynes brought the sweet orange here, that sweet orange finally received its name, the Parson Brown Orange, which is still used today. And so this book is based on his extraordinary life from North Carolina. He arrived here in what would be my area of Florida in 1845. He just turned 18, and he dragged along his 13-year-old brother, who actually insisted, as you read early in the book, I'm going with Mel. to Florida. Just kind of blurted it out at a dinner table one night. And I'm going with Mel. He's 13 years old. So it's an extraordinary story. The book actually starts out. I trying to figure out a way to start it and end it. That's kind of usually pretty big. So basically, how it starts out is Melton arrives at a place called Horse Landing near Palatka, about 10 miles south of Palatka, and he meets up with Dickinson there, and a guy named he's another lieutenant in artillery named Mortimer Bates. And it's true. So again, everything is true in the story. I just put the dialogue, the narrative, and the emotion into the story. And now Dickinson is in command, and he's, hey, Mel, and they knew each other. They're both in their 30s, so they're calling themselves by their first names. And, hey, Mel, glad you arrived. And he gets the three lieutenants, and Dickinson's discussing the strategy. And they're bantering back and forth. And he sends Melton over. He says, listen, and this is actually what happened, what took place with the Combine. When the Combine finally arrived, Lieutenant Mortimer Bates and Dickinson actually fired upon it to disable it. That was their chore, to disable it. And they did. And Dickinson, even in real life, predicted it would actually drift towards a bend in the river off of there at Horse Landings. So he sends Melton, he says, listen, if this works, it's going to drift to your area. So you and your men, he had Melton, and this is in real life, Captain Haynes, he was lieutenant at the time, brought three of his men with him to that, to meet up with Dickinson, and did set his men. So after Melton went to the bend in the river, he sent his three guys into a position, talked with them a little bit. There's obviously fun conversation between the four of them. And then he sat himself under a big cypress tree to wait for the Combine. What happens when you sit down and you're just kind of waiting, and then you start thinking? So he's reminiscing about his life up and down the 20 years that he's been up and down this river by this time, 1845, 1864, now at this battle. So he's reminiscing. And so as he reminisces about his life, it kind of ends with the chapter title, It Seems Like Yes, Only Yesterday. And then chapter 2 starts, and then beginning with him as a 17-year-old in North Carolina and taking him down here. Chapter 7 is a fun one because it is the war here in Florida. And it's not a history book. So you're not getting this people move this way, this people move this way, they fought apart. That's not what this is. These are stories amongst the men that just place you there. Whether it's even before that, like in the chapter before that, when there was a renegade Seminole named Chipko, and it's a real Seminole who went on a warpath up and down from the Peace River, up and down when this was all like Marion County in this whole central part of the state. And Chipko, he was a renegade. And what happened was Melton Haynes was commissioned as a captain. I had to find out that he was commissioned as a captain of a militia of the guys in this area to try to kind of police the area. In 1850, somewhere around there, Melton Haynes was summoned. He was already up. He went to Jacksonville, was kind of quieted down. He was called at Fort Meade there by the commander to come on down there because Melton knew the area better than anybody. He was a surveyor. So he knew the area. So he came down as a surveyor. That's what they wanted, his expertise as a surveyor. The guy they put who went out on that reconnaissance with Melton Haynes was Thomas Jackson. That's how we met Thomas Jackson.
Well, Bobby, I hate to interrupt you, but we do have a question that came in.
Okay. Love questions.
People are, Delenn's asking, how can they get a hold of the book?
Well, right now, actually a website is being developed, but I'm just telling people, just go ahead and email me and I'll work with you directly, get it shipped out to you, because I'm trying to, because it's very popular. The books are going out fast and I got a lot of speeches coming up. I mean, I could always order more and what have you, but Delenn, just get a hold of me and we'll work it out and I'll get you a book shipped out to you.
Cool.
I mean, it's I have to tell you, I'm actually reading it now. Because it's 15 years. So once I finished the book, I ended up giving it to Marley to start her editing, which she read the book 5-6 times. So I didn't see the book completed and read it until after it was published by the publisher. So I'm actually reading it now. You can see my my marker in the book, and I'm saying, oh my gosh, this is a good book. The guy who wrote this, boy, he did a great job. It is a good book. I can't, and Sean, I can't believe I wrote it, to be honest with you. It's really
right.
good. And that's just the sales pitch.
Well, yeah, I do the same thing because a lot of times I don't get to see the show per se,
Yeah.
just like you write in the book. So sometimes I go back and look at stuff to see how I can improve.
Absolutely. There are two things that I want to point out in the book that I was kind of researching, and I think you guys are going to find the stories fascinating. See, I can't tell you the stories because I want you to read the book and get the. You can't explain what it is when you read the book, but obviously his meeting with Stonewall Jackson, and so you talk about the lemonade and what have you. And Stonewall Jackson's lemons and what have you, and when it was around 1850, and they're patrolling around Lake Kissimmee over there down by El Massey's area. And there's Thomas Jackson and Melton are sitting by a campfire. And so Thomas Jackson, he was having trouble with his commander over at Fort Meade. He wanted to get out, and he's writing a letter to VMI. So Melton says he's rolling these lemons on rocks to loosen them up, and then he opens them, he squeezes them in there, and he takes out this little cone of sugar, and he's putting it in there and mixes up. He says, "Here," and he hands it to Thomas Jackson. Thomas said, "This is awesome. I absolutely love this." So if you're wondering how the story goes, how Thomas Jackson got his lemons, well, I just gave it to you. He got in my book. That's how Thomas Jackson was getting his lemons, or the way he loved his lemonade made.
Oh,
The Confederate Gold is a great story, and just in a nutshell version. A few years after the war ended, Melton Haynes is over here at the Woodley House, right here, and a wagon came with a few guys, and it was Dickinson, and they're coming in the front gate of Woodley. And he says, "Boy, he meets up with Melton, and now his son is older. Melton's son is older, and they're meeting up." And he says, "John, welcome to Woodley." So John says, and they're talking, and he's putting his men aside, and there's a wagon, and it's covered. And so John says, "Listen, Mel, can I talk to you alone?" And Mel says, "Sure, let's walk down to the dock down there. We'll sit down there." And he told his son to go get him some muffins and some blueberry muffins and some lemonade and stuff. And they go down there, and they started talking a little bit back and forth. And so Dickinson is telling him, he says, "Mel, listen," I hate to bother you with this, but I need to do something here." And he's talking and talking, and Mel is finally saying, "What the heck is it you want me to do?" I'm talking in a nutshell. "What is it you want me to do, John?" He says, "Is it something about that wagon?" And Dickinson goes, "Yeah, it's in the wagon." He says, "What is it?" He says, "It's $500,000 worth of gold and silver." And Melton says, "Are you serious?" He says, "Yes." He says, "You mean the Confederate gold is real?" And Dickinson tells him, "Yes, it is." So he's had it 4 years, but now all these scallywags and these former Union soldiers, and even kind of some deserted rebels and what have you, were kind of scaring the wife up in Ocala right there. And they figured Dickinson knew about this gold. So Dickinson had to get it out of there. And Melton, of course, was concerned about Mary Dickinson, his wife. And he said she's fine. So now Melton has got this gold over here at the Woodley house. He left the gold there. So stories like Jackson's Lemons, I don't think there's ever been a narrative historical fiction with these things. George Davis, when when Breckinridge and them were fleeing out there, George Davis stayed over there. Just great stories. Grant came because he wanted, after his tour, after 2 terms, he wanted to meet Southern soldiers. So he came to Ocala, toured through this area, and Dickinson held a ball for Grant and his wife. And to me, it's a great story. And then Kirby Smith is there. St. Clair Abrams is at this ball in Ocala, and it just works out really good. And Grant's wife and Sarah Isabella, who's the title, his name, Sarah's gallant captain, became friends at this particular ball. And of course, the Chamberlain discussion of Lee with Melton Haynes. These stories just really work. And I think you guys are going to find that it's great to have an actual real Southern hero as a star, as a lead, as the good guy in a book. And I think this works. And it's what, to me, when I think of Rifles, Rails, and History, or Haynes Creek, or some of the preservation work I've done, or even Edmund Kirby Smith statue. I think this book alone, amongst all my books, is technically a gift to you guys because it really works, and I think it's something that men and women, and it's actually a trilogy of books because of named for the women in the title. Major St. Clair and his wife Joanna. I'm writing a book called The Three Fires of Joanna, another historical fiction based on Major St. Clair Abrams and his wife. She eventually died in the third fire there that she was in, and the one that happened in Jacksonville, Florida. So there it is, Major St. Clair Abrams. That's the biography I wrote on there about him. It's a good book too. But so, anyways, yeah. And there's Rifles, Rails, and History. Hey, Sean, I got your copy. Still sitting over here.
Next time I'm in Ocala or our Tavares area, I'm going to give you a call, or the next time you come down to my area.
Yeah, I'm thinking about coming in May down there. I want to see Leon and Delynn and all of yous down there.
Cool. Be looking forward to having you.
Yeah, I think I think the May, because I don't think they meet in June and July or something like that. But I thought I'd maybe swing by down in May and see all of you down there.
Yeah. Get with Leon Delynn, make sure that fits in their schedule.
Yeah.
And here's another one of your books.
Yeah, I've written 5 for the Images of America series, and that one's a great one. I really love it. Right now, I think that's my second, maybe my biggest selling book right now. I think Sarah's Gallant Captain eventually is going to be a huge selling book. I predict Sarah's Gallant Captain. And what we're doing now is we're getting a website for me as an author, but also what we're doing is we're in the planning stages of getting Sarah's Gallant Captain out to major, hopefully documentarians. Maybe somebody will be brave enough to want to put a film together with a Confederate as the hero, you know? So we're actually going to make a big push on Sarah's Gallant Captain. And when you all read the book, like Kathy King has, you'll see that it just keeps you moving. The book doesn't stop. That's what Peter said today at City Council. Bob, the thing just keeps going. You don't stop. And it just keeps going. So I'm hoping that we can convince on a national level to try to get somebody to go beyond this, or if I have to get it to another publisher who has the means to get it all over the country. But I believe in this book so much over 15 years that of writing it, that this is going to be a hit. And
well, we got one more picture, Bobby.
The Lost Town of Ethel. Okay, I'm working on that right now. Actually, what that was is that's going to be the location of that March 21st and 22nd event. Okay, so what Ethel is, and I explained it before, is there was in Rock Springs Run State Reserve in Wekiva Wilderness. It's the wilderness, but somebody a few years ago discovered cemetery gravestones there and uncovered a cemetery hidden in the woods there. Well, since then, that was a few years ago, me and Shirley, you'll see the author there, Shirley and Don Philpott from the Wekiva Wilderness Trust, we're resurrecting this town of Ethel. So right now, we have tram rides where you can go the historical interpretive panels and go on a tour of where Ethel was, show you the different locations. But now we're in the process of making cabins and train station. It's actually just a platform. The schoolhouse, the windmill. So we're in those phases now. So where we're resurrecting this town. Well, there's a couple of editions of that book that Don and Shirley wrote and put together. But I've done a lot of research for them, and I didn't like how the book read, to be honest, in the cover and all that stuff. So I did research, and Don said, Bob, would you look at the book, make it a better production, make it more likable to people that they want to read it, and you've done so much research, put your name on the book. I told him, I said, Don, if my name's going to go on the book, I'm going to do an overhaul on it, and I did. So Marley's in the process of editing the final pages. So I'm done with my part, except once she's done and hands me the rest of the edits, I'll add them in the book and get them over to the publisher. Ooh. And it's a 405-page book. It's a great history of pioneering Florida. It's right up your alley, Sean. It's pioneering Florida, is what it is. The pioneer Florida. Yeah, it's right up your alley, Sean.
Yep. I love learning about the pioneers to keep them active, keep their name active in our areas. and what they do.
Absolutely. And this book is right up, Elliot, so I'm very proud of this one. That one should be coming out. I probably get it to the publisher in maybe a week. And then he's already been paid by the Wakaiba Wilderness Trust, the publisher. So he's ready as soon as I can get this to him, that we'll get this book published. And I think that's book 50, maybe my 15th book. I think somewhere in there now.
Wow, you're busy.
Yeah, I have several right behind it. I'm trying to write some of these books. I have 3 Chicago area historical books I'm trying to write, being actually 5, a trilogy of novels and a couple historical books. But the only problem is I'm having so much fun writing about the South, that
Right.
and I'm 68 years old now, so I could be running out of time. But I'm having so much fun writing about the South right now.
Dylan just answered one of your questions.
May 12th is a camp meeting. If that, well, I can't. If that's
if that fits.
what does it say there, Sean?
May 12th is the 2181 camp meeting, if that fits, but any time is great.
Okay, yeah, because I was thinking of May 12th. Yeah. Oh, very good. That's good. Yeah, I'm thinking about May 12th getting down there.
Cool.
Seeing you guys. Yeah. So very good.
You learn a lot from Leon and Dylan about local history right there in DeSoto County.
Yeah.
I learn a lot from them every time I talk to them.
I want to tell all of the camps, just about all the camps have made me either a Legionnaire or something. I'm now Bob Highball got me. I'm going to get this frame. I'm the Friends of SCV. I got my first Confederate Veteran magazine the other day. So but everybody has just been great in my 25 years of doing this with all of you. I just had such a great time in Oxford, and the very next day up in Jacksonville doing 2 different speeches. I'm kidding Bob Highball. You guys could ask Bob Highball. You guys know about it, Sean. I was Plan C for his Ocala Lee Jackson, but I hope I knocked it out of the ballpark for you guys.
I tell you what, Bobby, I enjoyed your speech.
Thanks, Sean. Thank you. Thank you.
If I didn't enjoy it, you wouldn't be here.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah, I one of the best. I tell you, the best things. I look forward to January, not because it's my birthday. That's the worst part of January, but it's because I know all the Lee Jacksons are going to take place. In January. So I look forward to doing that. And I was thrilled that Calvin asked me to speak in Jacksonville. It was a totally different speech. I didn't use PowerPoint. It was just me getting up there and getting one-on-one with everybody that was there. There was 70 some people there at Maggiano's. My ma, she was funny when I told her I was going to speak at Maggiano's. She was thinking the one in Chicago. She's an Italian, lives in Chicago. And then I said, no, Ma, there's the Maggiano's here in Florida. And she goes, well, I didn't know the Confederates ate Italian, So that's my little Italian mom.
Yeah, that's the thing. My dad's hometown, you had Greeks, Slovaks, and Italians, and those mom and pop restaurants were good.
Yeah, they sure were. So I had a great time. I was very proud that I was able to go up there. The people in Jacksonville were just incredible. They were awesome. They bought books there. As a matter of fact, one person already read the Sarah's book and sent a wonderful review from up there. So yeah, and then we went to see Major St. Clair's. That's the black book there, the black cover there. We went to see. He has 2 homes. One here is being refurbished. Matter of fact, Tavares, we love our. There he is. We went to see his home in Jacksonville. It's a monster mansion. It's in the historic district. It's on the Natural Register. He has 2 because he has the one here in Tavares. Right now, 2 Confederate homes are being refurbished. The one, the Melam House, Judge Melam, Confederate veteran, they're almost done with that one. And I walked over to Major St. Clair's house, and they are kicking on that one, and they figure they can probably be done in about 4, 5, 6 weeks on the Major's house. So again, streets are being named, houses, Confederate houses are being refurbished here, where Tavares loves the Confederates, and I hope I had something to do with bringing that to light in this area. So
Well, especially with that town being founded by Confederate veterans.
They were all Confederate veterans in this
A-
town.
and that's the thing. You got to preserve their name for and their legacy for future generations.
Absolutely. You know, Tavares was where the Confederates, United Confederate Veterans, had their meetings. This is where they were, and of course, Eustis, Mount Dora, were the Union, where there's a Grand Army of the Republic in Eustis, and it's same like Kissimmee and St. Cloud, where Kissimmee was the Confederate veterans, and St. Cloud was there too. It was built for the JR and the Union veterans. But you know something? That's why the reconciliation. These people don't understand. There is a great letter from the command of the GAR here in Eustis from like 1912, who wrote about the United Confederate Veterans, how they get along, that they help each other with their events and their fundraising, their parades, their all those stuff. And the same that happened when I researched in Kissimmee and St. Cloud. I mean, the veterans, the Confederate veterans, were helping the Union veterans who are moving down here, waiting for their houses to be built. Helping feed them and getting food and putting them under cover, from the weather and what have you. And that's what's lost in history, is these people don't understand the generosity, the gallantry, the compassion that these Southern soldiers and veterans and the women had for as these Union people came and started moving to Florida right after the war.
Yeah.
Immediately after the war. These people were helping in Florida. This was the Eastern Frontier. These people, these Southerners, you guys were treating us very well. And it's a shame that you guys are getting the bad rap in today's modern society.
Yep. Well, before we wrap up the show, does anybody have any questions or anything for Bobby? Feel free to ask.
I hope I didn't bore everybody.
No, I don't think so. I mean, we stayed at 20 for the 20 to 25 for the longest time.
Good. Very good.
Yeah, your buddy Peacock just joined.
Just joined now?
Yeah, Peacock.
So that's the story of Jerry. Oh my gosh, he Sorry, Jerry. I had to tell that story.
All righty. So before we wrap up, if anybody wants to, meet you and talk to you, what is your next event?
Oh, gee, my next event. It's going to be. I'm going to be at Pioneer. I'm going to be at Pinecastle Pioneer Village. But my next event coming up, let's see, that I'm hosting is. God, I got so many things coming up here. I got the March 10th. I'll be giving a thing at the Tavares Museum over here. And then we got Ethel coming up right after that. There, we got Medal of Honor Day. We're having 2 events that date. On the 25th, Medal of Honor celebration. On the 28th, we're having a Medal of Honor picnic over at the Macturius house. Macturius's family, he's a Medal of Honor recipient from World War II, but his family were Confederate. He's a descendant of Confederate veterans as well. A lot of things. Yeah, Macturius is he's a descendant from Confederate veterans, and his house is still standing. Needs a lot of refurbishing work. So we're going to be doing 2 events in March because it's his birthday. It's also Medal of Honor Day. They're 25th and 26th. So we're celebrating not only his birthday, but Medal of Honor Day, since he is a recipient. Jerry Peacock participated in December on Captain Wright. He was a Union soldier, and he participated in an event we had here in Tavares. He's our second Medal of Honor recipient that's buried here in Lake County. We have 2, so we honor both of them. And Jerry Peacock participated in the Captain Wright thing. So here he came. It was a Union guy, but there was Jerry. He drummed. We had a Confederate flag coming in, because I include the Confederate flag in every event I do. I don't care what it is, museum sharing symposium, a Union thing. That First National is there, It's there. It's an American flag, and it's there.
Well, Bobby, I want to say thank you very much for taking
Oh,
time out of your busy schedule for coming on and speaking with us tonight.
thank you
Uh,
for having me.
yeah, so we're getting ready to wrap everything up, Bobby. So I just want to say thank you for taking time out today.
You're welcome.
Gentlemen, keep in mind if you have anything coming up for Confederate Memorial Month, please send it in. I did hear from the Arcadia OCR. They are planning their event. What was it? Yes, they're planning their event April the 18th at Fort Ogden Cemetery. I'll be there. Some of my members of my camp will be there because our camp namesake that served in Company A on the Cow Cavalry, Lieutenant Bogas, is buried in that cemetery. So we go there to honor our camp namesake. So if you have any events coming up, camp commanders, brigade commanders, so forth, so on, including OCR UDC chapters, please send them in. That way I can help you get the word out. Until next Wednesday, may God bless you in your ventures this week. Until next Wednesday, stay Southern, stay out of trouble.
My name is Nelson W. Winbush. I'm a member of the Jacob Sumner Camp 1516 Sons of Confederate Veterans. A reason for joining the Sons of Confederate Veterans after the NAACP declared they would destroy and remove everything Confederate in 1990, I decided that I would do all I could to make sure that people understood what the Confederacy stood for.